Next, we have Professor Fellow Amy Reynolds from the University at Buffalo.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to stand before you to talk to my colleagues, my friends, my family, and to speak from the heart. Just sitting here listening to all these talks just reminds me of how much I love counseling psychology and the people that are in it mostly. I'm not going to try to thank all the many people along the way who have helped me, but I do want to acknowledge the places I have been that have shaped me. I have been at the Ohio State, where I got my degree, UC Irvine, University of Iowa, Teachers College, Fordham University, Buffalo State College, and the University of Buffalo, and all the many people at conferences and where I've met and been involved. I'm not the first person actually to use a bridge metaphor at a Division 17 speech, and I probably won't be the last. And I think that's because it's a good metaphor for counseling psychology. I think we are bridge builders. We're bridge builders between counseling and psychology, between personal and career counseling, and between multiculturalism, social justice, and the broader fields of counseling and psychology. We are bridge builders. So what exactly does the word bridge mean? I came across three possible meanings. One is a structure. Well, that one we're not going to talk about because that's the physical bridge, right? But then there's to connect or reduce the distance between an upper deck where a ship is steered and the captain stands. And then there's to find a way of getting over as a difficulty. The first definition, to connect or reduce the distance between, is really what we do as counseling psychologists. If we're practitioners, we build bridges with our clients, within our organizations. If we're faculty, we build bridges with our students, we mentor them. These are all important bridges. So there are so many places where we meet the second one. I think a lot about the upper deck, right? But I was born and raised under Star Trek, right? So that was, when I thought of bridge, that's what I thought of, right? But when I think of bridge, that type of bridge, I think about our role as leaders within the profession, our universities, our agencies, our communities. Now, there's no more important time for us as counseling psychologists to stand up as leaders. There are so many places where our leadership is needed, with our clients and our organizations who are struggling, with our students to envision their future, with our communities who need us as advocates and social change agents, and even, or maybe especially, within APA. The third definition, which is to find a way of getting over such as a difficulty, could have many different meanings. But for me, it's about building bridges across the great divide of diversity that unfortunately keeps many people apart. It speaks to our role as multicultural educators and leaders. This is the heart of my work and what gets me out of bed every morning. My own career story has been about bridging different worlds: student affairs and counseling psychology, and also counseling center work and academic work. I received a master's degree in student affairs and a doctoral degree in counseling psychology from Ohio State University. Throughout my career, my two professional identities have connected through intersecting values and overlapping professional goals that emphasize holistic, developmental, and preventative interventions. Spending half of my career working in a counseling center and the other half being an academic has really shaped who I am. And my location at the intersection of these two professions has been, I think, one of the most significant contributions in my development. My location there has allowed me to be a translator, to bring core knowledge and scholarship from counseling psychology, from the field of counseling psych, and applying it to student affairs, particularly in the area of multicultural or helping competence. Over time, I've come to realize it's not only my nature to build bridges between people and professions, but it's also what I enjoy the most. No place is that more true than in the area of building bridges across diversity. I've been blessed in my life to work with and be friends with many individuals who are passionate about multicultural issues. My time at Ohio State, as Eve already showed the picture of, as a member of the first SIDMOP, then OTED research group, was formative for everything that came later. Sitting at the feet of Linda James Myers was an experience to launch my dreams of working in this field. My internship experience at UC Irvine, which was my truly first immersion experience, was profoundly effective for me. And then Iowa City, where I had my first professional job at the University of Iowa. And I've lived in New York City, I've lived in California. I always say I learned the most about diversity in Iowa, which is sort of funny to say because it's Iowa. But it's because I learned about myself as a white woman doing this work. I was a member of a group called Women Against Racism, and we were involved in personal work where what we did was explore ourselves, our biases, our beliefs, and work on our relationships with each other so we could then go out into the community and work on eradicating racism and other forms of oppression. Not a small task, as you can imagine, but it was a profoundly developmental experience for me. Building bridges to diversity, and I learned that there, can be scary, partially because it requires we take risks and that we lean into discomfort. That journey becomes easier when we realize that when we're crossing the bridge, the destination is not what is most important. It's the process of engaging in an open and honest way. I'd like to see myself as a bridge builder, sort of like T.D. Jakes, excuse me. I think he said it well. He said, I'd like to see myself as a bridge builder that is building bridges between people, between races, between cultures, between politics, trying to find common ground. I also know it's not that easy. It often feels less like a bridge and more like a tightrope. But that's okay, and I think actually that's how it's supposed to be. Reading the powerful words of others have always helped me deal with that tightrope. Once, when I was a grad student at Ohio State, I took a women's studies course. We read an amazing book called This Bridge Called My Back, which included the bridge poem by Donna Kate Russian. Here I was, as a young white lesbian, wanting to build a bridge to others without truly understanding myself and my privileges. I learned, and I still am learning, that I cannot be a bridge builder if I cannot truly listen to the words, realities, and pains of other people. The words of Donna Kate Russian and so many others, like Audre Lorde, Pat Parker, Maya Angelou, taught me so much about the experience of women of color, but it was the end of the bridge poem where I found my path to being an ally, an advocate, and a multicultural educator. She wrote, "The bridge I must be is a bridge to my own power. I must translate my own fears, mediate my own weaknesses. I must be the bridge to nowhere but my true self, and then I will be useful." These lessons and this journey in my life would not be possible without my life partner, Rochelle. Who knew in 1988, when we first met at a multicultural conference, I might say, that we would find our passion in both our personal and professional lives. Together we have explored our differences and similarities and found common ground, even when it wasn't easy. She's been my muse, my co-writer, my co-parent, and my bridge. Our commitment ceremony was in 1993, followed by the birth of our two children, Justice and Mandela, in 95 and 97. Actually, my son Mandela's here right now. It's his 18th birthday today, so I'll embarrass him. There weren't a lot of models for our family at that time, and certainly not when we moved into our suburban home outside of Buffalo, having lived in New York City. We were at the beginning of the lesbian baby boom, I guess, but we did our best to build bridges across race, class, culture, sexual orientation that created a foundation for our amazing family and allowed me to no longer worry where the bridge was taking me, but rather walk forward and feel comfortable embracing the unknown. Thank you very much.